And you all may lose me because I'm about to go on base and my phone is going to probably black out on me, so I have to come back in.
Okay, go ahead, Jess.
And Dr. Austin just left the room for a moment. So as soon as she rejoins us, we should get started.
Okay. Okay.
How's everyone's day today?
Oh, oh.
Robin. Here, I'll give it to Robin. Complete. I'm gonna ask them, well, Elise, she does the voucher on the 11th. She can assign that to tomorrow for those, and then you can take mine before you get in. 8 o'clock.
We all are here now, so Dr. Austin.
Hello. Good morning, afternoon.
Hello, Doctor. Hello, good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning.
Just give me a second. I know we were going to talk through a few things today. So I know that we wanted to talk through a few items that were submitted to us, and we wanted to talk through the budget numbers today. Okay, that's all there. Let's go ahead and start
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, oh, you're asking me, where they, okay. Okay, the first item number, the agenda was the Marine Barracks. And what that is about is that the vendors who's going to take over the Marine Barracks in October or September, that is their primary, isn't it? They cannot have two primaries at one time. So, as I understand, Miss Beatty needs a place, but she cannot bid on anything as a primary because she already has a primary. And we want to clarify that with you all, the agency. You cannot have two primaries. The people over there, that is their primary, because once they accept the Marine Barracks and said, I bid on it and received it, then they have to give up the ones that they have right now. And are we correct?
Well, this is Andy. I just wanted to say a couple of things about that. If I'm not mistaken, 3 people were chosen for that. We haven't asked the other 2 to give up their primaries. And I think that the BVC is being more optimistic about what will occur regarding the Marine Barracks than I would be at this point in time. The plan, and I'll use that word loosely because I haven't seen a written plan, that the expectation was that it would be a facility that would be available in August or September. And this is a negotiation between a number of states, Randolph-Shepard programs, and the Department of Defense about placing facilities in a number of different military facilities across the country. Colorado is taking the lead on this negotiation. You may be aware that after the negotiation started, the Secretary of Defense indicated that he was opposed to having the Randolph-Shepard preference allowed at all, that he was in fact trying to make the claim that Randolph-Shepard did undermine efficiency for the Department of Defense, and therefore they should not be required to have the Randolph-Shepard program at, and this is military bases across the country, which is a huge issue. There is the beginning of the states coordinating with each other to litigate that issue. Given all of those things, I don't think someone could say that the people who expressed an interest in that Marine base food service have a primary. I wouldn't even say we'll have in August or September. Once we get to August or September and it actually occurs, whether that's 2026, 2027, 2030, once that happens, you're correct. People can't have two primaries. But that will be, if I'm not mistaken, the model that we were viewing was a general manager and two assistant managers.
Yes.
And for all three of them, there's the potential it would be their primary,
Okay.
which means that they would all be giving up whatever other primaries they had, and we would deal with that in a call down. All of this is speculative. And I don't think that we take
somebody mute their phone, mute their phones. I think, Mario, are you working on your register? I hear some kind of. Okay, go ahead,
Okay.
Mr. Reese. I'm sorry.
And so I don't think it's fair to say that she has a primary. I think it's fair to say she may have. And that is highly speculative. It's negotiation that we've been following, but I haven't heard that they've made tremendous progress. They have regular meetings. And have you been participating, Jelani?
I have not been participating in the meetings, but as of last week, when I participated, I'm sorry, this is Jelani, as I participated in the CSAVR conference, they made mention about the fact that this is still onward litigation, and they don't see an end in sight soon, but they are working towards getting this mitigated.
Yeah, so and for all those reasons, I think to suggest that Ms. Beatty or the other two vendors have a primary that's going to be in place this summer is not an accurate statement. They are the people who, if that occurs, they will be brought up, they'll be transitioned in, but that's not going to happen in a day either. So we haven't even gotten to the point where we've said, okay, it's happening, and then you have the transition time. And so at that point in time, you're correct. They would have to sacrifice whatever primary they have. But I don't think we can say
wait a minute.
Have a primary.
I'm not hearing you very well. So you're saying that they're going to have to sacrifice the ones they call primaries now. Is that what I heard? I don't have such a good hearing thing, so.
Okay. At the point in time that the Marine Barracks award is actually made, see, in order to submit the proposal, we had to identify vendors. So the award hasn't even been made yet. Their names were put on for the proposal in order to move forward toward having a site. We don't have the site yet. So we can't say it's theirs. It doesn't yet exist as a Randolph Shepherd site.
So you cannot say that the Marine Barracks is theirs right now as a primary.
Correct. I mean, I would even go a step further than Andy and say it almost would be unfair to say it is theirs and then deny them some type of opportunity to draw down from a site on a speculation of a site being available. So we, like Andy said, as we move forward, we'll be monitoring it to see if anything manifests, but there's a whole bunch of moving parts that are taking place, and it still may not, because of the litigation, even pan out with getting this.
Dr. Shannon, it's not only Miss Beatty, but there's Eunice Mouse and Mr. Facile. So we have three people right now. That's we question not only Miss Beatty, but the three that's going there. And we all, okay, go ahead. Yeah. So that's what we wanted. Yeah.
Did you have another comment, or did anyone else have anything they wanted to add to the conversation?
Well, I just want to say that really elucidate the situation, and I understand it a whole lot better and understand your reasons for your decisions. And I completely agree with the way you guys are handling it, because you really have no choice, because there's nothing guaranteed, and you don't have a primary unless it's already there, or you waiting to be inventoried in or something. That's something different. But since this hasn't even, come down the pipeline, one cog hasn't connected with the other one, there's no, just because it's named their primary doesn't mean that they're ever going to get it. So I understand, about them being able to get one now. I think that's fair.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that number 2, I think, was the agenda for number 2 agenda was, let me see if I can remember, was combining. We wanted to say the committee would like to put forth of not combining and uncombining facilities that is combined. Facilities that's combined and facilities from now on going forth that we do not combine facilities.
So actually, if you can hold on for 1 minute, I'm going to run down the hall, because this is one of the policies that we did pass, which was about combining facilities. And you may, I don't know if you're talking about, so combining facilities has to do with the federal definition of individual location. And so.
Well, what? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so you may recall 10 years ago, we had 2 buildings that were across the street from each other. It was a federal agency, and there was a question about combining those as one. And that was the FAA. Thank you. And because there was they were across the street, but the question is, do the staff regularly travel in the normal course of business for work-related activities between the 2 buildings? And those are questions that are answered by the property management, not by us. And so with the State Department, and that there are 2 facilities in Main State, and then there's Columbia Plaza, we reached out again to the State Department property management to say, do the staff in Columbia Plaza, and we gave them the definition, regularly travel between Columbia Plaza and Main State and vice versa in the normal course of business? And their response to that, I think, was no. Right. And that was the reason for raising the question of those being split into a facility at Columbia Plaza, 1 location at Columbia Plaza, and then 1 location, which is 2 facilities at Main State, because the two at Main State are in the same building. So you don't have a question there. But the third one of the Columbia Plaza location, that didn't seem to make sense. But there is.
I understand.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yes, I was trying to explain that to the other vendors as well when we had a meeting not long ago. That's the way I. What's going on?
Oh my God.
Can you hear me?
Okay. We're good.
Can you hear me just now? But everything before that was not clear.
Okay, I'm saying that's the exact same way that I understand it, and that's the same way I explained it to the other vendors. Because if you have a building 2 blocks away and one 4 blocks away, just because the one is closer doesn't have the same effect as if these particular employees go to that building. And it was my understanding that they were combining places just because it was close and not because of the people that works in those buildings go back and forth. And I was trying to explain to them the way that you explained it, that's the way I understood it. So just because this building is 2 blocks away doesn't mean you can combine it, because my people go 4 blocks away and they do travel back and forth to that building. And and that's the way that I explained it, and that's the way that I understand it.
And so I did find, and you're exactly right, and I found the specific language here, which is an individual location, installation, or facility means a single building, self-contained group of buildings. In order for 2 or more buildings to be considered a self-contained group, such buildings must be located in close proximity, and a majority of the federal employees housed in any such building must regularly move from one building to another in the course of official business during normal working hours. And I know that we've had this before, like there was another building that had an AT that had the credit union in it. That wasn't the normal course of business. The normal course of business is that people during their work day, doing their work, travel between the 2 buildings. That's the standard that we presented to the State Department to say, does that apply to Columbia Plaza and the 2 other locations at State? And they said, no, it did not.
This is Jerome Walker. That is very clear. What you stated, that is very clear. And one of the problems we have, and we're not certain because of things that have gone on in the not so distant past. So part of our problem right now, Mr. Reese, is we are under the belief that there have been facilities awarded to some people just based on proximity. And so that's our concern. We wouldn't know, you all would know better than us, but that is one of our concerns. And if that's the case, we were talking about that, because what was just stated by you and Mr. Troy Stevenson, we understand, and that's very clear. But the second part, or the part that I raised, is where our concern is. So because of that, in this upcoming call down, we had some concerns as it relates to Ms. Beatty being considered a displaced vendor, because it was our understanding that she had received GSA at the corner of 7D as a combined facility. So if that's the case, then deeming her an unplaced vendor, maybe there should be another typo, because she wouldn't be displaced. If that's so, she might have lost income, but she wouldn't be displaced because she would still have the connection to the GSA building that we believe she was awarded in a combining facility, or as a combining facility.
So you raised two different points there. One is this issue of how the decision was made to combine those two, which is something of a concern. I get that. The other is whether you consider someone displaced, and I believe displaced is if you're, okay, displaced is if you are displaced from your primary facility, if I'm not mistaken, and that would be the reason she would be considered displaced. While I say that, let me be clear about something. The only thing, okay, two things. We have to have a call down because the State Department has been not assigned regularly to a vendor since last August. I am aware that someone stepped up and agreed to operate it on a temporary basis and said, I'll step up, and we thank you for that. But if I do, I want to step up for 6 months. Not I want to step up, get all this work done, and then you snatch it away in a month or two. So we agreed to the 6 months. That was up in February. We should have had a call down for those State Department facilities by now. Being a displaced vendor means that you have the ability to bid on people's satellite facilities. We're going to have the State Department available, and I don't know exactly where people fall out, but if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Beatty might be the top priority person.
Yeah.
Ms. Beatty hits first. So if we have a vacant facility and Ms. Beatty puts in a bid because she doesn't have a primary, puts in a bid on one of those two State Department facilities, she puts in a primary bid, she'd beat everybody else anyway. So whether she's displaced or not becomes a moot point, right? Like,
not necessarily, because part of the bidding process also includes seniority, but she can't with her seniority she can't gain a fourth location before someone who has less seniority gets a third one or a second one. So that doesn't automatically make her the next qualified.
You're referring there. No, you're referring there to people bidding on satellites because she doesn't have a primary facility. So as someone without a primary facility, she does, if she makes a primary bid on any, so you have a choice. There's one, which is the first and second preference rule, and now we're down to third and fourth even, based on the number of facilities people have. But there's also, when you place your bid, if you bid on a facility as a primary versus a satellite, if you make a primary bid, you have priority over someone who makes a satellite bid. And so, and then it goes to your performance and seniority points. And like I said, I think that she has the high, I think that we're having a lot of debate about something that is going to be moot, and we're way past due on having a call down for the State Department. We were supposed to have it at the end of February. We're going to be to May soon.
Right. And if that had happened, it would have been open to all vendors. Now it's just open to one.
No, it's still open to all vendors.
Oh, okay. Well, I was under the impression that this call down because she has displaced quality. I mean, not quality, but because she's recognized as a displaced vendor, this call down was exclusively for her.
Oh, no, that she would have exclusive rights to bid on satellite facilities, but the vacant facility at State, anyone that wants can bid on that. So this call down, because she's displaced, would include satellite facilities, and I don't think she's going to bid on it.
So I want to understand something. Could I understand something, Marie? I'm just trying to clarify something. So if the Marine Barrack contract go forward for the three, it's not just Miss Beatty, it's three people. Will be
Correct.
Just, 3 people. So if the contract goes forward, then that they're able to go over there and keep the primary that they had already bidded on earlier?
No,
No,
no.
they would give
They
that
would have
up.
to have a call
You know that.
They would have to sacrifice their other primaries, and then we'd have a call down of all those locations. Then we'd have all kinds of.
So when they go, if the Marine Barracks, everything works out with that, those three vendors have to relinquish the primaries they have had, they got bidding on now, and go to the Marine Barracks. That will be their primary automatically.
And that's including whatever decision we make for Ms. Beatty as well. So if it's a temporary site right now until that comes in to reversion or permanent site, or call down.
We're gonna have a call down.
Right.
There, like.
Right.
We have to have a call down for the State Department. She bids on the State Department. If it happens in August that the Marine Barracks comes through,
You should just have to.
4 months after that, by the way, Santa Claus is coming. I mean, it's just not gonna happen. It may happen at a date in the future. There is no way when you consider everything that's required to get a facility up and running, and all they did was ask for the name so they could submit the proposal. We don't hear any word about where we are with that. So, yeah, I'm not feeling like that possibility is something that we plan around. We start planning once that possibility becomes more of a reality that we can see in the not too distant.
I'm sorry. Hold on. This is Rashawn. Miss Jessie said that she's on mute or something. She's trying to do some stuff, but it's still not letting her in. She's trying to talk.
Hello? Hello? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we could hear you, Jesse.
Okay. Okay, because I wanted to ask a question, and I've been trying for the longest. I got a question. If location has been combined with a person's primary facility, and they lose that location, will they also lose the one that's merged with them?
Yeah.
And those will go back into the unassigned?
So if they're considered a single location, then, and you know, as people have pointed out, these rules have not been consistently applied.
No, it has not.
I mean, think about including, for example, Department of Labor. We should not have 2 vendors in one building, and yet we do. And I think that, you know, for whatever reason, every time we come up against one of these where it becomes challenging, somehow someone makes the decision to bend the rule. And then a few years later, we're looking back trying to figure it out, and we don't understand why.
Yes, because I feel very discriminated against at this point, Mr. Reese. I really do. Because I am the most senior vendor. I'm the most senior vendor in the program. And do you realize I receive $6,000 compared to other people $40,000 and $50,000?
What do you mean, though?
That's not it. Overall, for the unassigned, I receive $6,000. The other people receiving $40,000 and $50,000. When I was in state, nobody wanted to combine it. Let me have it, even though it had been combined for other people. It's still like I'm being discriminated. I really do. I just want everything equally.
Okay,
Make it right for everyone.
I understand that it feels unfair. I do want to remind people the micro market procedure that we sent out for comment, and I know people are aware that we heard some comments that we sent out for comment last week and will become final next week, is going to require us for all of the third-party managed micro markets in July or within 6 months of it passing, we're going to have a call down for all of them, and they will be assigned then based on all of our rules about priority, first and second preference, And so those will be divided up in a more fair manner. What's that?
Okay. And with that being said, may I say one more thing? I'm on the facility. Is there any way I can request documentation of all the locations that we get unassigned money from?
Sure. So let me be clear, when you're talking about unassigned money, are you talking about, so there's unassigned vending income, which is vending machines that are in buildings where we don't have a Randolph Shepherd facility.
Yeah.
And that's the income, and that's divided up evenly amongst all the vendors. And that money
May I
is
say
used.
something to that? May I say something to that point also? Even though that's the rule and it's supposed to be, I feel arbitrarily that has not happened. I feel like locations has been pulled out of the unassigned to give to certain people. That's why I'm asking for a copy of all the unassigned, please.
Oh, yeah.
I
No,
just
that's
want it fairly. Equal
that's not a problem.
That's all I want.
Jeremy, can you do that? You have a list of the buildings that all the unassigned are in, right?
Yeah, just to
They just sent that to me today.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a problem.
I'm going back to something, Mr. Reed. Go ahead.
Three. So we do have 3 micro markets that need to be put on a call down, but we'll do that when we do the call down.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, we're just gonna do it all at once.
And now those are satellite.
I think the committee would like to say to the agency that you need to explain to the 3 vendors who bidded on the Marine Barracks how it would work. That if the Marine Barracks contract comes forward and approved, that they will have to give up their primary that they have right then, the one that they're running right then and there. And I think that the agency needs to give them a full understanding of what is happening.
So, Ms. Bolden, we actually did, when we first awarded the sites, in their awards letter, we outlined that they will have to give up their primary locations when this actually is a reality. So they are aware of it.
Well, I think it should come from Mr. Reese, Delani, not from you. I think that should come from the agency itself. And I know you with the agency, but I think that's why a lot of us get misconstrued about things, that things do not come directly from the agency. And I think it should come from the agency, not from, you as the analyst or whatever.
How
so
about
there won't be no misunderstanding.
How about if we share a copy of those letters that were sent so that you can see the communication and see if you feel that communication was adequate? So take a look at that first, because they're on notice, but take a look at that. And actually, anyone who's on the P&T should have had access to those letters anyway. So there's no problem sharing it. We'll share those letters with you so you can see the information that they already have.
All right. I believe the past committee I shared it with, but I can forward it to you.
Yeah.
Not to the new. Thank you. The new committee should
Thank
have
you.
it. Thank you.
The committee, and I think that I'm going back. I made the mistake of jumping around here. I'm sorry about that. The combined. When we say uncombined, we mean those places that, even though they might be in the same building, how are we going to recruit other blind people and we don't have any place to put them? Because all the older vendors, all of us in it has received all of them by combining. I don't care if it's cross on the other side of town. While we do this combining stuff, we would like for it to be uncombined, whereas a vendor that in another building somewhere or cross on the other side, like they are now, they are combined.
How about if we share with the BVC, the facilities committee, all of the current locations that we have so that you can see what's qualifying as combined and not combined. Because we have a whole bunch of facilities that people are holding as satellites, that if we got new people, they could make primary bids and get those.
So what are we getting that you cannot do uncombined, or you will continue to combine facilities, even though they may not be in the same building? I'm not talking about the traveling from one building to the next. We talk about combining period buildings.
Well, we should take a look at, like I said, we can send, because our current thing shows which are combined, right?
Correct.
So why don't we send a list of all the current facilities so that you all can see which ones exist that way. And you'll also see, we still have far more facilities than we have vendors, regardless of which are combined versus uncombined.
Mr. Reese, are these working facilities? Are these working facilities we have?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are a number of satellite facilities that individual vendors operate that are their working facilities. I just want to put a note out there. We're only scheduled until noon, and there's one small item that I'd like to talk about before we finish.
Can I just add with this? For instance, the Humphreys, Cohen, and Switzer building, they're attached by tunnels. Would they all be considered one facility or one location? Because the Switzer and the Cohen is one facility, but the Humphreys is a satellite, but they're all linked in tunnels underground.
I will say it depends. So if you heard that whole definition I gave you, we don't answer that question. The property management answers the question because it's an issue of whether the employees regularly, a majority of the employees regularly travel between the buildings.
Now, that was one of those decisions that was made based off of proximity and connection to the building, without consulting with building management to see if it fit the definition of the signal installation. So we might have to revisit that discussion.
What I'm hearing here as well is that as we continue our work, and I want to thank the folks who've been working on the policy issues, that we need to make sure we take a look at that combining of facilities, because there is an existing policy, and make sure that we're considering whether that needs updating. As I said, so we only have like 11 minutes. I do just want to mention, I know that Nicole's with us and hasn't gone over the budget yet. You did send it out, right? Yes. So she sent it out to all of you, and what you may notice in the budget is that we currently have a fairly significant surplus of set aside levy funds. And when we look at expected expenditures throughout the rest of the fiscal year, these funds are more than adequate to cover that. You may be, I expect everyone here is aware, you are certainly aware that the levy is 21%. However, if you look at the regulation, it says that the levy is up to 21% in order to meet the program needs. It seems, based on our current circumstances, and I want to explain how we got here. Part of how we got here is that during COVID, we had some vendors who weren't on top of paying their levy. And in the last year or so, Ms. Alexander has been very focused on helping people get caught up. And so as they've gotten caught up, what we found is that we now have a surplus, and therefore we'll be sending something out this week, letting people know that beginning in May through the end of this fiscal year, we won't be assessing levy. So there will be no levy payments from May through September. Together, at the end of this fiscal year, we're going to sit down and look at our budget for next year, see what our equipment needs are, see what kinds of expenditures we anticipate, and based on that, we'll make a decision about what level the levy needs to be at for fiscal year 27.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So in the past, Mr. Reed, the agency had been reimbursing vendors for that when I first came in the program. So I thank you for doing that.
Well, and it makes sense. You know, the levy's supposed to be there to support the program, and once we've met those needs, you know, we should stop. So.
Did you say we had 11 minutes left? Did you say we had 11 minutes or something left in the meeting here? Well, I got a couple of things I want to get through. I didn't put one of the items I did not put on I forgot to put it on the agenda. Mr. Kadani has filed a grievance against Mr. Keller. He's very, very, very upset, very unhappy of the treatment he's getting from his business analysts. He said the treatment he's getting is rude, disrespectful, and everything. So we wanted to address that, this committee, that we know Mr. Beneficola in the past has been very disrespectful and very nasty to all of us. Not one of us in this program has not been under his wrath at one time. Mr. Kadani says he does not want Mr. Beneficola to be his business analyst. He would like for it to be removed, for him to be removed from being his business analyst.
Okay, so
we all know that Mr. Kadani is not lying. Every vendor in this program knows that. But you guys have kept this thing kind of quiet and settled down here in the last 6-7 months. But we thought everything was going okay until Mr. Kadani stated how bad it is for him. So I just wanted to put that in because I forgot to put that on the agenda.
And he did come to me with that same complaint.
And so what needs to happen is for him to officially request, and he can request a change of program monitors. He should make that request to Dr. Austin.
Okay, can I say something? I'm the grievance. Yes, sir. I'm the grievance chair, and he submitted that to me yesterday. And I talked to Jelani to try to make sure who that I forwarded it on to, and he told me it was Miss Austin as well. So I will be forwarding it over to you.
Perfect. And then when she schedules a meeting, because of the BVC's role in supporting people through this process, if he would like a member of the BVC to come to that meeting with him, of course, that'll be arranged. So we'll reach out to Mr. Kadani to schedule the meeting, and if he wants, and we'll offer if he wants a BVC member with him.
Okay, that's great. Great. Now, the other one, the last one we have on there is documentation. Now, that means this committee is asking the SLA to look into each and every one of us vendors that owes money for levy or have not paid their sales taxes. We got to do this. These things are important. So we're asking that the agency looks into each individually vendor. And if they owe sales taxes or levy, we're asking that to be collected. Even if they get on a payment plan and pay so much per monthly, because that's another thing. It's not fair for some vendors not being not paying levy or behind in levy or not paying. And you can really get in trouble by not paying your sales taxes. They can come into your facility anytime they want, and they can cut off. They can shut your doors down with a lock. So we're asking the agency to look into each individual a vendor, and catch up on making this come to pass. And you should, and I think that the agency should do this.
And we absolutely agree on both counts, levy as well as taxes. Just so you're aware, when I mentioned the thing about no levy, Nicole whispered to me, what about the people that are still paying the back levy? I said, oh no, they owe the back levy. We get their back levy still. So we are still working on that. And that's something that we have pretty much under control, yes. Right? Yes. So we're getting toward resolution on people who owe levy. The agency is in the process of hiring. We have an auditor at the agency. We're in the process of hiring a second auditor, and that person is going to spend part of their time working with Randolph Shepherd, doing some of the auditing functions that we had envisioned that program monitors might do, but it's really higher level than what program monitors can be expected to do. And so we will have someone who's going to be working with all the vendors to make sure that those kinds of things are where they need to be. And as soon as that person is hired, we'll arrange for for you all to get to meet them, and we'll talk about how that process is going to.
Oh, into.
Because it used to be where if a vendor was in debt with the agency, and especially we had to turn in proof every 6 months showing that we had paid our sales taxes and that they were up to date. Because as I say, that's very important. The district, they can come in and shut you down. And not only that, it's just fair to other vendors who do pay their debt, that all vendors should be paying the debt, the levy, the back levy, go all the way back and find out who owed money and make them start paying up.
Surplus is that we have been doing that. That's why we have a surplus, is that Ms. Alexander and her team, Nicole, they have been working on making sure that we get all that back levy from people. The other issue, which is part of our performance monitoring that our monitors do conduct, is that part of that, and you're correct, we used to require people to do clean hands, is what it's called, where the Office of Tax and Revenue confirms that this vendor doesn't owe the government any money. And so we will make sure that that's being consistently, that is consistently in place. And I apologize, I'm just noticing we have 1 minute to go. Because some of us have a 12 o'clock meeting.
I have one suggestion, Mr. Reed. I have one suggestion. On the sales tax situation, when I pay my sales tax, I have my girl to pay the sales tax and send a copy to my analyst that she paid it. That way, the agency have the record of it.
We're working on what that process looked like, but yes, in the past, that was the case. So we're looking to actually maybe refer back to going back to that way of doing it. But if you guys will recall, we did use this in the last call down that we did in, I believe, May, or before the UMCS call down. We used levy and sales taxes, included that in the performance piece.
Well, I think that the agency should follow through with this and not lack on it after a while. Because, like I said, this is a program of Randolph Shepherd, and we all know what we're supposed to do. And I think that there should be consequences for any vendor who doesn't make an arrangement to pay up if they owe or if they owe, they should make an arrangement. If they don't want to comply with this, then the agency, there should be consequences for they not wanting to do it or not doing it. And you can, what we did in the past, the agency would take so much, if a vendor made a payment plan, the agency would take so much out of their vending, whatever the payment they arrange out of their vending commission themselves each month until the debt is paid.
That is how we.
And there should be that. No vendor should be able to go back later and stop back to not paying or catching up with their date. Excuse me, they should not be able to go back doing the same thing over and over again.
I think we all agree, and you're right, we need to make sure that we're on top of that. And as I say, the reason we see this surplus right now and the reason that folks who are up to date with levy won't be paying levy for the rest of the fiscal year, which is through September 30th, is because we've gotten the back levy from these folks who were not paying. And we're going to continue until we have it all. They're not off the hook for that.
Yeah,
So it is after 12.
We send out anything official notifying the
Yes.
business.
Yep, I'll send that out. Sorry to cut people off, but some of us are late for another meeting, so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.